and to wind up. Mr. Blackman.
Thank you, Mr. Howard, and it's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship. And I believe that this debate has actually demonstrated the power of e-petitions to generate a calm and sensible and rational debate on the issues that the petitioners have wished to raise with us. I start from the principle of actually looking at the definition of stunning, because I don't think that's actually been referred to during the debate. And the EU definition is that any intentionally induced process which causes loss of consciousness and sensibility without pain, including any process resulting in instantaneous death by causing immediate cerebral perfusion. That's the starting point that I have. And I think the debate has centred very largely on the difference between the religious manners of slaughtering cattle, sheep and other animals, and the supposed stunning version. However, what should be clear is that in terms of animal welfare, has already been alluded to, both in the Jewish religion and in the Muslim religion, the welfare of the animal being slaughtered is paramount to start with. It is being used for food, it is being used to sustain human life, and it is therefore paramount in both religions that the slaughter actually is taking place in the most humane way possible. Now, I've made on an intervention a point here which I think is quite important in the process. The process of Shechita's slaughter requires a fully trained, as my honourable friend from Finchley and Golders Green has alluded to, a fully trained individual to slice through the neck and the carotid arteries of the cattle being slaughtered at one stroke. At one stroke. Not a series of strokes, not a particular way of doing this. This is quite clear, which is a particular skill and ability which I've personally seen and witnessed. It also, of course, then renders the animal unconscious and effectively removes the pain from the animal through the cerebral link. Therefore, that is an instantaneous means of rendering the animal, therefore, not to suffer pain. I would argue that there will be pain suffered by the animal, whether it's a bolt by being electrified, however it is going to take place, the animal will suffer pain. But it is in that process. So therefore, I would argue very strongly that both the Shechita method and equally the Halal method, if used properly, actually is a humane way and is a process of stunning the animal to start with. So I think the point is that there has been no scientific evidence in a laboratory environment to demonstrate whether one method of stunning is more humane than another. However, leading scientists and academics actually regard the process of Shechita and Halal slaughter as being at least as humane, if not more preferable, than the current forms of stunning that are used in abattoirs up and down the country. So I think the clear issue is there. I think the principle on CCTV, I think there is an absolute duty that CCTV should be introduced into every single abattoir in the country. And therefore, I think it's a process that then we can all see, and there will be evidence to demonstrate that the slaughter has taken place in an effective and humane way possible. Equally, I think the clear point is that on labelling has been mentioned in several honourable members' speeches, that a simplistic way of just labelling food as having been stunned or non-stunned is not appropriate. It should quite clearly be the process that has taken place. And in fact, if meat is regarded as being kosher, halal, or any other means, then fine. I don't believe that there's a problem in that sort of labelling. I think accepting a principle of meat having prepared through stunning or non-stunning arrangements would not be appropriate, particularly given the contention by the Shechita community and also the Halal community that their means of stunning is at least as humane as other conventional methods. So I think the clear view would be that were there to be labelling introduced in such a way, this would be directly discriminatory against both the Jewish community and the Muslim community. And I don't think that's acceptable at all. Now, these debates, generally speaking, obviously will take place as a means of formulating policy and getting answers from the government and indeed from the opposition as to their views on this thing. So I would welcome a clear statement from both the opposition and the government that there will be no change to the principles of allowing both Shechita and Halal meat to be prepared in exactly the way it is at the moment, and that slaughter will be allowed in exactly the same way as it has done for many hundreds of years. Equally, we will, in the summer, there will be a comprehensive food labelling report, we believe, coming from the European Commission. Now, clearly there will be a position then where the government of the day will have to make a decision. And I would welcome a view from both the opposition and the government on saying what they would do were they to form the next government about that particular report. I think that's an important process. Lastly, Mr. Howard, as I realise that time is pressing, I think it's quite clear that the regulations that apply on particular to Shechita, I'll just repeat them because I think they are important. The animal's throat must be cut by one rapid, uninterrupted movement of the knife. Both the carotid arteries and both jugular veins must be severed, and the knife used to slaughter the animal must be inspected before each animal is slaughtered to make sure it is sufficient size and sharpness to slaughter that animal and render it deceased immediately. Now, it's quite clear that under the existing legislation, both the Welfare of Animals, Slaughter of Killing Amendments Regulations 1999, it provides that such religious slaughter can only take place in a licensed slaughterhouse. And that's been the case since March 1999. And it's quite clear that the European Council regulations require stunning before slaughter, but allow member states to exempt such slaughter. But the member states can impose stricter rules if they so wish. So I would invite both the opposition and the government to state their position on whether they will continue with these derogations, because I think this is an important signal to the community. And I share the view of many honourable members that have spoken in this debate that there is a growing feeling of anti-Semitism, a growing feeling of Islamophobia in this country. The attitudes of the public have given rise to great concern, particularly amongst the Jewish community. And I think those concerns must be treated appropriately. I have received many, many emails before coming to this debate where people, my constituents, believe that this is a direct attack and threat on their way of life. And I think we need to send very strong signals to say they're British, they deserve to be treated appropriately, and their way of life must be respected.